Hey everyone, what is going on? It's Colin C back from the Crypto Boys, and I just want to come on here today and talk about Bitcoin, where it's at, what I think's going on with it, where I think it's headed, and just some things that's been going on kind of in the world, or really over the last weekend in the world, and see what's going to happen kind of going forward and the way I see the market as it sits today. Don't have to agree with me. You can start up a conversation in the chat below, but I'm going to give you what I'm thinking right now. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into it. First things first, everybody's asking bear market, bull market. Honestly, I don't even know if people are asking anymore, to be fair, because half of you believe we're in a bear market, half of us probably believe we're in a bull market, and it could be switching from 70-30 to 60-40 at all times. It just depends. Me, I'm still a bull, I'll be honest with you, and I'm going to go through those reasons now. I'm also going to give some reasons for the bears. Joe, he's been bearish for a long time, so he's definitely a bear, but you know, the overall long term, we're all bulls, right? At some point in time, we're all going to turn into bulls. My reason for thinking we're still in a bull market is because really it's more simple than you think, is that it's not like any of the indicative indicators that we've had that were similar to bull markets in the past, at least the ones I'm looking at. Obviously you can look at it either way, but this is what I choose to kind of see, in that we didn't have a blow off top in this one. We haven't been making lower lows at the moment, and on top of that, we really haven't seen any sort of super fast capitulation down to some phase that is like unattainable for Bitcoin. Typically, you see some absolutely stark drop off as soon as we hit the all-time highs, and we didn't see that. That doesn't mean that this, because every single one is different. Obviously in TA, there's only so much you can look at that's presenting your past, what happened in the past, to tell you where you're going to go in the future. That doesn't always work out perfectly, but there's the only way to look at that, and there's a way to analyze what happened then to at least have an idea of what's going to happen in the future. And in my opinion, those things haven't come to light just quite yet. That doesn't mean that they won't, and that doesn't mean my mind won't change, because I'm going to tell you in today's video why I think it could change. And none of this officially means that we're not in a bear market, or I don't agree with people who say that we're not in a bear market. I just still think we're in a bull market. Or maybe I could even say this, if yeah, I can say this because it's YouTube. I can say whatever I want. Well, kind of. But I can say this, is that I think the Bitcoin run-up is going to happen much faster than people anticipate. Yes, are the alts absolutely destroyed? Of course they are. The boredom in the market, the people who are scared in the market, they're running as fast as they can away. They always have. The alts always do this whenever it gets bored, whenever Bitcoin even trends sideways, because Bitcoin really isn't even that far down. We've seen it recently down much further than this, and we had big bounces off of that. So it's holding strong. The people who are in Bitcoin, it's loyal investors, it's big time institutions, it's countries, it's all these things are going to keep it much higher, which makes me think if we are in a bear market, and we've been in a bear market for quite some time, does that mean this bear market is going to be much shorter, or does that mean we're not going to go to all-time highs like Joe said and pretty much everybody else until 2024, maybe even 2025? I mean, is that what that means? I just don't see us crab marketing sideways and going that long at this level until we just fall off the earth again. I don't see us going that low. I'm not saying we're not going to hit 28K again. I would be buying like crazy if I whatever money I can strum up at that time, but I don't see us going much lower really than we are now and sitting there, just because I think the buying pressure is so high underneath that 35K mark. All right, guys, I do want to jump into a couple charts quick, and you guys know you've seen this before, but I love this look into Bitcoin chart. This is the fear and greed index, and you can see out of every single time that we have some sort of big crash or some sort of big pullback, that each time it hits a certain level for a certain amount of time and then it runs back up. You can see that this is where the accumulation happens, no different than here. And this has really happened over the last year or so, really even since before the run-up in November, the run-up again in November, and just after obviously it crashed in November as well, is that you've seen this capitulation here is typically when people are buying and buying and buying. They're not buying high. They're not buying high and selling low. These people are buying low and selling high. And that's what we all should be doing. Now, to get the retail investor back in, who knows what's going to happen? But you know that typically this is a good spot to be buying if you just look at past. The next chart I want to get into is the total hash rate. As you guys know, typically we have big crashes or big spikes in the market. People start to turn their miners off, right? Because it was too expensive, or it cost them more money energy consumption wise to run their miners. Just as Joe and I, we have our own miners right now. We're in a group that has miners. I don't want to say our own, but we do have our own, but it's in a group. And as you can see, we're at all-time highs right now at the hash rate. People are not turning off their miners. They want more Bitcoin. They're not worried about it. They don't care about it. They want more Bitcoin. And even when you look at the revenue of the miners, it's still going down. I mean, it's been going down since October of 21. Truly, it's been going down, down, and down, and down since we had that last run up, which is obviously going to be clear, but people still aren't turning them off, and the hash rate is still going on, and it's getting higher and higher and higher. And you're only going to see that, and the strength of that does mean some in the long term, because you even see when we had that crash, when China turned theirs off, other people were freaking out, didn't know what was going to happen, and it keeps moving forward. People are not going to be investing into these crazy big time mining operations, and we've seen the one we're in is pretty big, let alone what others are out there, into these mining operations if they think Bitcoin's going to zero. If they don't just want Bitcoin, I mean, they're paying a premium right now to get their Bitcoin because energy is so high. We're paying a premium right now to get our Bitcoin because energy is so high, and really Bitcoin isn't all that high right now, even though it's kind of stabilized around the 38 to 41K mark. But that is just the realization of where we're at in the market. Bitcoin is holding extremely strong for everything else that's going around it. I mean, there are so many macro events going on right now that are very bad for markets and very bad for, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and just regular equities markets in general. You've got inflation, you've got higher interest rates, you've got war, you've got everything under the sun, you've got issues in the government, CBDCs coming out, you name it, it's out there. The FUD is there for you to grab. You've got to look past it. You have to look past it. I'm telling you this right now. This is how you're going to become rich. This is how the crypto boys are going to become rich. This is truly what we believe in. And I honestly think that the run-up of Bitcoin is not only going to be more than we think, it's going to be much sooner than we think. How soon? I have no idea. I've been saying at the end of 2022, I expect some sort of big run-up, and I'm going to stick to that right now. I think that this inflation stuff, the interest rates may even go down a little bit. I think people are going to start getting back on their feet, start getting a little bit more money back, and start being able to invest it, because most of the people came in the market in 2021. So that means most of the people are probably down or out of their projects or selling low. So how to get those people back, that's going to be the question. I didn't want to do it, but I got to do it. I got to get on the Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, statement, and Elon Musk obviously mocking them, so on and so forth. You guys have already seen what they said. It's been everywhere. I'm not even going to go into it too far, but I do want to give my opinions on it. Why? Here's my question overarching is, number one, I'm not going to ever talk about like I know more about stocks or money than Warren Buffett and his right-hand man, Charlie Munger. Although I do think there are some issues with that. It's like, that would be like, people are always like, you can't say anything to him. He's like the richest. What do you mean? People say stuff to me about fitness all the time when I think I know a whole lot about fitness, and I mean a whole lot about fitness. I would definitely consider myself a complete expert in the situation. And there's people that know nothing that still say things. You can say whatever you want. And you can also say that they're behind the curve in some things. But, however, I think the main reason that people are, or the main issue that people aren't looking at is this. Why is this article even a thing? Seriously, why right now is this article a thing? Why is this just coming out? It's because think of the times. If the market was up and we're at all-time highs, do you think anybody cares what Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger? Do you think they're saying this right now at all-time highs? No, they're probably not, because they're not going to even get asked the question because Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are ripping. They're getting asked the question because they know it's going to be a title very soon that gets a lot of clicks. Look how many clicks, look how many big multi-million subscribed YouTubers are getting and bringing this to light. And I mean, on every single channel in the world, it's on TV right now because there's nothing else to report on but what these two think. And they've hated it since its inception. This isn't new. So why is everything it's new? Because the people just came in the market. 2021 just brought everybody in. Of course they're going to make this a big deal now. Because if you made it a big deal in November, nobody cares. No one cares what Warren Buffett says. No one cares what Charlie Munger says. These guys even alluded to the fact that they don't even use the internet. How are you going to expect two people with a combined age of like 185 or 190 years old going to use the internet and get online and be able to use a different sort of currency? It's not going to happen. So it's kind of unrealistic on our end to even think that they would have the basis to be able to go in and just switch their complete mindset after making billions upon billions of dollars to cryptocurrencies, and the fact that they passed up on it when it was pennies. I mean, do you think people didn't bring it to them when it was pennies? Of course they did. They said it's fake. They said, I'm not going to do anything with that. They didn't have any interest. It doesn't produce anything. They need something tangible, which makes sense. Honestly, that's what my grandma and grandpa would say. They honestly would. They say, Colin, man, I don't want to invest my money in there. What's it going to give me? Is it going to give me some land? I mean, you're going to give me a couple steers for this? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, they want something tangible. It's just the way it is. Those people, you're probably not going to change their mind, but you could on like a spot ETF or, you know, like Fidelity's 401k. You can change them and just get them a little dabble in, so you still get them invested, but they don't have to believe in it crazy amounts. If they see the returns, maybe they start believing in it. This is the kind of stuff that gets the ball rolling. But to think Warren and Buffett and Charlie Munger have anything to do or anything, you know, good to say about the market is just crazy. Why would they? I mean, Charlie Munger's, you know, when he said, oh, it's evil, it's stupid, it's just, that just shows how incompetent he is on the space. I mean, he probably shouldn't even comment on it because he doesn't know about it, which is fine, but it's evil. What do you mean? I mean, they just sent billions of dollars to help Ukrainians because we couldn't get them money either way, and it's harder to get it where they need to get it out right away. So what do? They said, hey, we'll go to crypto. We'll send it out in Bitcoin. You know, I mean, there are so many good things going on with the space. Of course, there's hacks, there's stuff that's wrong with it, but now they're getting on top of stopping those wallets and things, and I don't want to get too far into it, but I mean, there are great things going on. So evil and stupid and make him look bad, yeah, that was just kind of uneducated in my opinion. And he's a very educated man, but you know, those people and those type of investors are phasing out, and you're going to see that very soon. All right, peeps. So I want to jump over to TradingView really quick. I am already making this video longer than I wanted it to, but here we are. So you can see this is the last bull. This is the last bear market. Just came off all-time highs in 2017, 2018, and now we're starting to run down, obviously, a little bit. I want to kind of get myself out of the way here. So this is, yeah, January 2018, and you can see consistently setting lower lows, right? And then we get into the depths of the bear market here and then start to crawl out of it a little bit in 2019, so on and so forth. So if we jump over to where we're at right now, does this trend line look anything like the one we just showed? No, it doesn't look anything like it at all. If we jump back, this is angled down. It's setting lower lows continuously. And here we're still setting higher lows. And on a macro level, setting higher lows is a bullish sentiment. It just is. There's nothing else to say about it. I've done this and I've said this a million times. So once we start inverting this and we start going into a more of a bearish sentiment and lower lows start happening, then I'm probably going to start changing, obviously, my mindset a little bit more. But for right now, I still think things can turn around. I think that the boredom is getting to people. I think that the altcoins are obviously destroyed because a lot of you probably got in right away when everything was pumping and you could, you know, throw a dart at the wall and anything was going to get you a 2x. It didn't matter what it was, just toss it at the wall. There you go. It's not like that anymore. So you see the smart money is going to the bigger projects, the Ethereums, the Bitcoins is pretty much the main two. But even then, you're going to see the whale buying in Cardano. You're going to see a lot more adoption through these bigger projects, really just the 1 through 20s and things like that, where everybody else is running for the hills. They're getting away from it because here goes the big Bitcoin crash. Does that mean we're in a bear market? I don't know. Maybe it does, but I'm not worried about it. It's a long-term view. Zoom out. And then in 2 years, when you're making tons and tons of money and you're selling to these people again, you're going to be like, should have stayed in, right? Or maybe even a year, maybe even a month. I have no idea, and no one does. I'm not going to even pretend to know, but for the most part, things are setting up like it's still a bull market and like we can still have this turnaround quickly. And who knows, maybe just the bear market was shorter. Maybe it just wasn't as steep. Maybe we are in the depths and deep despair of bear market, right now. Maybe it's right now. Maybe the next couple months are going to be even worse, but maybe we start climbing out of it then. Nobody really knows because it's been such a different market, a black swan event thrown in the absolute middle. We didn't have a blow off top. We're not setting lower lows. I mean, there's so many different things. The macro events have never been this insane around a market with, the highest interest rates in however long. I mean, they're blowing up, right? You had all this fake money pumped into the economy over 2 years. We have 80% of the US dollar pumped into the economy over the last 2 years. That is absolutely asinine. Of course things are going to happen and they're different. So I don't know what's going to happen, but in my opinion, the crypto space is strong. It's looking very, very bullish and very good. We're DCAing a little bit here and there. Joe and I actually have 2 big buys that we're coming up with this week. So we will make sure we let you guys know on our live tomorrow which 2 projects we're going to add to or buy new of. think one of them might be a little more Harmony One. See that boy under 8 cents. We're about to steal some. You got us. And then let us know what you guys are doing. I'm just wondering what you guys are doing. What's going on with you? That's pretty much all I've got today. I don't care if you're a bear or if you're a bull. We want to be with you guys, and we want you to be along with us along with our ride and our crypto journey. We're going to come on here every single day, tell you guys what we think and where the crypto space is going, and bring you new, exciting projects that's happening in the crypto. All right, guys, we appreciate you being with us. Go ahead and like the video for us. You got to subscribe to the channel. The Crypto Boys are blowing up. We appreciate you being with the fittest crypto channel on YouTube, and I'm out.